What up, man? So you're gonna be super cool today. I see you got the glasses. I always bring the hat. I might need to bring a different energy next week. What you think?
I'm outside, bruh.
Gotcha. All right, so we ain't gonna waste too much time. Y'all know we shorten these episodes for a specific reason. We getting in and getting out. That's what we do now. But we have a
That boy said he be getting in and out, but that's how you do it, huh?
no, stop. No, let's stop. But no, here we go. So today we're talking about switching categories and when is it the right time to switch categories. Um, I guess this topic came up because we have seen a lot of people switching divisions, whether it's male, female, and we want to like kind of, I guess, give information to maybe the amateurs who are, maybe stuck in between or considering moving up a division. But we had to bring a special guest on for this conversation, like special guest.
And you gotta
You,
give
you,
her the right introduction, bruh.
well, I got to do it. All right, cool. Let me go off the top of the dome. I mean, she's in a lineage of bodybuilding history, a lineage. Two top. Yorton Cup champion, I think figure and women's physique, like two time, back to back. I think it was back to back, but we're gonna find out when she get on here. But we got Jessica Powell joining us.
Hello.
What up, champ?
Hey guys. Two of my
How you
favorite
doing?
guys. I'm doing good. How are y'all today?
Good.
Good. So I hope the introduction was I'll be coming up with that off the top of the dome. So I hope the introduction
Yeah.
was good enough.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, man, I'm good with it. Whatever. It is what it is. Yeah. Um I you were right. I won the Yorton figure first in 2021 and then I came back in 2022 and won in the women's physique division.
So you just pulled the wool over everybody else, came back and was just like surprise. I'm brand new.
Sort of. Yeah. It wasn't like a secret necessarily that I was planning on doing the switch. I think for me in my situation, I think I always had more of a women's physique body. I have like more of like an athletic look, kind of a blockier core, and figure I really had to grow into. I spent like 5 years creating a figure body, but I didn't naturally have one. Um, and then I think that there were some things about my physique, like my glutes will striate, I get like a shredded serratus, things like that they don't really care about in figure. And over time, as my physique continued to develop, I knew that like I would do well in the women's physique category, but I'd already had the plan in my head that I wanted to win the Yorton figure. It was like that was something that I just had to prove to myself that I could do. But I always kind of knew that women's physique was like probably naturally where I fit more. So for me, the switch was pretty easy. It was just almost like just made sense for me.
Gotcha.
All right. So for the people that's been under a rock, did you start out women's physique first, or you started out as figure first?
No, I started out as figure. Um, so my dad has been a bodybuilder pretty much his whole life. And when I was going to bodybuilding shows, they only had women's physique and figure. So when I first had it in my head that like I wanted to do something like that, figure was just like, I don't know. I just really loved the look of figure. And then, over time that look evolved, the look got a little harder, a little leaner. And I think that pushing the envelope in that way was what kind of kept me in figure, because I knew that I really wanted to get like super lean and I wanted to get really big. But I always liked the figure look. So as it evolved, that kind of kept me in the mindset of wanting to start out with figure.
Gotcha. Well, you answered the first question. The first question was like, what factors help you with your decision? But I guess I'm going to reel it back in and change the question up a little bit. So with you making the transition from figure to women's physique, are there certain things that you see in, well, there are certain things that you saw in your physique, but was there certain things that drew you to a specific category? I know you said athletic, but you was women's physique, but what, I guess, drew you to figure first?
It just was the first division that I'd ever seen in bodybuilding that kind of like reeled me in, like got me excited about bodybuilding. And I think, when I was, so I don't think not everybody knows this, but I was like over 200 pounds for years. And I kind of entered into a bodybuilding show as a way to like force myself to get back into shape and kind of regain control of my health. And I was a really curvy woman and I liked my curves. I didn't really want to give those up. And just in my head, being so new to the sport, figure just seemed more feminine than physique. Having been part of the bodybuilding world for as long as I have now, I don't feel that way now. But starting out, that was where my head was at, was I just felt like that physique was a more feminine look. And I hate that that's why I thought that, but because I don't feel that way now, not at all. Like I still feel very feminine, even competing in women's physique. The way you look on stage, you only look like that for a few weeks,
Right.
So, you put on 5 pounds and like, you kind of look like yourself again for the most part. But yeah, that was kind of my mindset though. And I think that's a lot of women's mindset. I think that's why so many women should move over to physique, but they don't. They get in their head that, it's not a feminine look and they don't want to be part of it. But a lot of women would probably place a lot higher if they switched to women's physique.
All right, so that's my next question for you. Obviously, you said for you, it was your own personal reasons. You wanted to prove to yourself that you could dominate in both. All right. So the judges didn't necessarily tell you, hey, like your body fits more towards women's physique.
Not necessarily. What's funny is early in my career, I was told that. Like the feedback I got from my very first show I ever did was that, actually, funny enough, it was, you could compete in PC physique. I'm like, I don't want to compete in PC. Like, I want to be here. And that was like almost discouraging in the beginning. I think I probably received that feedback at least in 3 different shows, all by professional figure competitors. And so in the beginning, I thought, well, gosh, maybe I should just switch over, but I didn't want to. So in my head, I thought, well, either you're going to have to work really hard to get your back as big and wide and thick as you can, or you're just going to have to make that switch. And I decided to like really, really dial in and kind of change what my physique looks like. But I think that it is really important to listen to judges' feedback and not take it personal when a judge does tell you, I think, this is a good division for you or a good category for you. Ultimately, they're the ones who decide whether you win or lose,
And I'm actually piggyback off that and turn it to Jamal, because I know Jamal gets a lot of comments saying, oh, man, you do great in bodybuilding, or these things like from the public opinion. And I don't know if a judge ever told you that. So have you ever been faced with that critique and saying, hey, you should do classic, or you should do bodybuilding, you look great in bodybuilding, and how do you go about that critique?
When I first started out, when I first switched over to classic, because I was doing bodybuilding at first, and I was getting my ass whooped. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like I was getting it handed to me. So I ended up switching to classic. And the first couple of shows I did, it was like, hey man, like you should go to bodybuilding. No, I just came from bodybuilding. It wasn't a good look for me. Nowadays, people really don't say much about it. I may get 1 or 2 people, hey man, you should do bodybuilding, but no, like classic is my lane.
I asked you like 2 weeks ago if you were going to ever do bodybuilding.
You did. I actually enjoy classic. Right now, I don't feel, and I can say this humbly, I don't feel like I'm at the level of a Magnum and a Levi to be competitive on the Yorton stage with them guys. Yes, I could go win some local OCB bodybuilding shows, but when it comes to the elite stage where everybody want to be on, me personally, I don't feel like I'm at that level to be actually competitive with the Magnums of the world and the Levi's of the world. So I'm gonna just stay over here in my little classic room and just do my thing over here. And like I said, for me, the switch for me is because I had a couple flaws in my physique that just wasn't cutting it for bodybuilding. In classic, I'm able to, you know, dip my hip and do certain things where you can't see some of the flaws that I have in my physique. So classic is just a better fit for me. That's why I switched.
That you had in your physique.
Exactly that I had.
I got your back, boy. I got your back. But, and the thing with me is, and I think it was two years ago, or yeah, 2 years ago when I did classic, and everybody was in the uproar, like Eric doing classic, and I was just like, the thing is, people were just like, oh, he just decided to switch, and that wasn't the case. Like I was planning on doing classic for a year because I was growing my legs. Like I never really had super small legs, but I was intentional about leg growth. So people who, wake up tomorrow and say, hey, I just want to do classic, like it doesn't work that way. And I also wanted to make sure, like, the critique I was getting was you're a hybrid athlete. And I think you're very much a hybrid athlete. Jamal's a hybrid athlete. And that basically means you're at the tip of the lower, I ain't gonna say lower category, but I'm at the higher end of men's physique, but I also can be competitive in classic. Like Jamal is at the higher end of classic, but he can dabble in bodybuilding and still beat some of those guys. And just like you're at the highest end of figure. And if you tighten your conditioning up, came in harder and fit that category, that's a hybrid athlete. You fit in both. And to myself, I was just like, hey, I just want to get on the classic stage, prove to myself I can do this. And heck, I knew Jamal was doing the show, so I was like, hey, if you're the guy, if you want to be the guy, you got to beat the guy. So I think we kind of, like I said, that's kind of how all of this began, by like the competitive nature we had and meeting at that show. So the one thing I heard about all three of us was it was a calculated decision. It wasn't just like, oh, tomorrow I'm going to do this. And I think one of the factors you said was, hey, listen to the judges, because I think you could probably speak more into this. I mean, we're all judges here. But on the women's side, what advice can you give to somebody, maybe in limbo between bikini and wellness, or wellness and figure? Because we see it so often where people may just be misplaced in a certain category. So what advice would you give to them?
I think honestly, I think that question is really loaded. Like, I think what it really comes down to is like what your motivation for competing is. If you're somebody who like just really loves the culture, being part of the community, you love just getting on stage, and maybe you're not super duper competitive, like your goal isn't like to go win the Yorton. If there's a division that you want to be a part of and you want to take the time to develop that physique, I say go for it. But if you're competitive, like I'm very competitive, I like to win. If winning is a priority for you, then you need to do what makes sense. Hopefully you have a good coach who can already give you that feedback. But if you don't, then in those situations, it's like super important to listen to the judges' feedback. And, find, like a clinic or a seminar. If you don't, if you haven't competed yet and you're trying to figure out where to start, but get feedback from pros in the division, from judges in the division, and find out where they think you fit if you don't know. But I think that, like, for me, what I've always done, and I think what's made me successful, is I look at what the top athlete in the division looks like. And if I don't look like them, I'm not getting on that stage yet. I think it's just really important to like visualize, see what the top competitors look like, and then try to look better. But yeah, like I said, I think just like what your motivation for competing is really going to determine like what division you do. Because for some people, it's just not as competitive as others, and it may not be as fun for you to train like a physique competitor as it would be for, wellness. I mean, honestly, like like workload wise, I'd love to just go in and pump out legs like 2 or 3 days a week, but with physique, it's just, you got to do everything. I hate working bis and tris. Like, you've got to do bis, tris, chest, calves, like everything, so, I think that there are a lot of factors that go into it, but ultimately I think the more people you ask and the more feedback you get, the better.
And Jamal, I want to ask you basically the same question. Like, I know, speaking on the guy and I mean, we see bodybuilders move, or classic moving to bodybuilders, or I think we went to a few shows where we saw maybe misplaced athletes, and they're upset with their placings because they are competitive. So what advice would you give to them?
You just gotta, like Jessica said, you gotta see the top people in that category and do I fit that mold? If you're in classic and you have a blocky waist, you're gonna have a hard time placing on a Yorton stage. You know what I'm saying? And I think, and this ain't me being a hater or whatever, everybody's running to classic, but they don't have a classic body. You're literally a bodybuilder. I don't know if you like doing the poses because they're easy or what, but you're not classic. You're a bodybuilder. So take your blocky waist back to bodybuilding.
Well, that applies to the women
I'm just
too.
helping you guys out, because once y'all do get to the end of the year, get to a bigger stage, and you don't place in that top 5, you're gonna get on the internet saying how this org sucks because you didn't place top 5, but it's your physique that sucks because you are in the wrong category.
Mm-hmm.
That's my advice. Just pick the right category.
And I think my sentiments is exactly the same as the two. Do your research, look at the top people. Granted, I'm pretty sure if you're competitive, you're already thinking your physique is there, or you may think that you're better than the top people that's already in that division. And if that's your thought process, is that cool? But it's like, if I stand in the lineup, do I fit into this lineup or do I not fit into this lineup? And also, I guess I got to get petty too. We all, when we get in shape, look like we have legs because they're shredded. Shredded legs don't mean you have legs. Like,
Right.
Let's cut that out. Like, we got everybody lifting up their shorts, like, oh, I got striations, I got cuts. Like, that doesn't mean you have legs that's good enough for classic. And
Right.
classic, you're supposed to have a balanced look anyway. So it's like, this is just being real. If you're a small men's physique guy, you're not going to be a big classic guy. Let's keep it honest. So it's like, know your lane. Like, if I always tell myself, like, most people have to grow out of men's physique. And unless your waist is blocky, you have to grow out of men's physique. So for people who still haven't even reached their full men's physique body, who wants to do classic, it's almost like, all right, are you going to take that year off, or are you just going to hop on these stages? Because I'm not going to get on my soapbox and go on a tangent, but I hate how sometimes natural organizations are looked at, because they see the lineups and they're like, well, why is this guy doing this and why is this guy doing this? And it looks almost like a joke, as to we having serious bodies at every show. And the lineups are now getting way more competitive on the amateur and pro stage, which I love. But it's always those 1 or 2 people, especially, I don't know exact people, but especially on the pro stage, whenever you see the drop off, 1 or 2 looks amazing, and then the drop off is all these other people who just may be misplaced. So,
that blocky waist thing, that I'm telling you, that is such a separator. That is the reason it took me years to develop a figure physique. I have a naturally blocky waist. Do you know how hard I had to work my lats to make the illusion that I had a small waist? You know what I'm saying? That took a lot of time to do. And that is, as a judge, I hate to see a nice hard body in men's physique, but they've got this wide blocky waist. You just can't score that high. It's unfortunate, because I look at the physique and I'm like, it is a good physique, but it's not physique. Like, maybe it should be in a different division. But I think that's something that people really need to pay attention to. But I don't know why people have such a negative connotation about having a blocky waist, but that's especially in the women's divisions. Like, you cannot have a blocky waist and be in bikini. Like, you shouldn't have these big, thick obliques. And then same with figure, these big wide obliques, you've got to really overtrain your legs and your back and your shoulders to make your waist appear small. Just move to women's physique, get big everywhere, like, to me, that seems like the obvious move, but for some reason, it just seems like a lot of women are holding back on that, on pulling the trigger on that.
Right.
And wellness, like you were saying with Men's Classic, everyone's flooding to wellness now, not just new competitors, but, you know, older bikini competitors. And I think that women, our bodies naturally are bottom heavy regardless. The problem is that once you get lean enough for the stage, a lot of that bottom heavy physique has disappeared. You look a lot more symmetrical now because you hold most of your fat in your lower body. And I think a lot of women enter into wellness thinking they're going to smash it. And then when they diet down and get close to the show, now their body really looks more like figure or bikini, you know? And I think that's where, like, the discrepancy with wellness is coming from, is that from the start of prep, most women look like they would be fine in wellness. But once you diet down and get all the fat off, you know, if you don't have any, if your muscles are big, but it's, I mean, if your quads are big, but it's not all muscle, that's not going to serve you well when you get to the stage.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just feel like if you're a bottom tier guy in men's physique, you're going to be a bottom tier guy in classic. If you're a bottom tier woman in bikini, you're going to be a bottom tier woman in wellness and so forth. So just be mindful if you are going to switch. Like you still have to work and put in the work. The categories are not easy. The competition isn't getting any easier. Like dude, some of these teams around here, like I've been to a couple shows where they got team divisions. Bro, the teams look like they got bodies of freaking 30-year-olds. I'm like, yo, what in the heck?
Yeah. The guys at my high school didn't look like some of these kids.
Right.
Well, we're going to actually round it off there. Like, I mean, this was hopefully is a very informative episode for everyone who's watched.
I got one more question for Jessica.
Oh.
All right. A 2-part question. All right.
Okay.
So which one did you enjoy more? Women's physique or figure? And 2, which one was I would say more challenging getting ready for it leading up to your big Yorton Cup wins?
That's actually a really easy question to answer. I am diehard women's physique now. I'm just obsessed with the posing. I got to do a pose down. Like that's like a bucket list thing for me. I've never seen women have a pose down before. And the Yorton in 2022, when I won in women's physique, I got to do a pose down. So I really love the posing in women's physique, the energy. I love not having to wear heels. That is awesome. So that's definitely probably my favorite category. But winning the figure in the Yorton, I just worked so hard for that, years for that. You know, I had to really, really learn the posing well. And it just felt like that felt like something that I had to learn and kind of master on my own over time. And physique just felt like it came a little more natural to me. So I definitely like feel a lot better about my figure win. Like that was a way more exciting win for me. And it was my first Yorton Cup win. You know, that was like really cool.
I said the posing had to come come easy when you're watching Will pose all your life, right?
Oh yeah. In fact, I think it might have been Nam. Somebody said, "You're up there posing like a bodybuilder, not women's physique." I was like, "Well, that's how they were posing when I was growing up."
Oh man. And before we let you go ahead and plug in what's coming up here in a few weeks.
Yes.
Tell them all come out and play.
Yes, thank you. Absolutely. We are promoting the No Gear Classic here in Greensboro, North Carolina. It's going to be May 18th. We have men's pro. So if you are a male pro and you're looking to compete this year, go ahead and sign up. Late registration fees kick in on the 20th. So you don't have till the 20th to register without late fees. But we love the venue. It's really exciting, very high energy. So yeah, y'all come sign up and register and come see us.
And the overall trophies are what?
Oh,
that matters now.
I know, because look, Eric remembers. We give out swords and shields for our pro card winners and our pro athlete winners also.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right. And just like that, man, we appreciate you for coming on. Like we
Yeah,
said, when
thank
we reached
you.
out and you was like, hey, I'll do it. We're like, all right, cool. We got to make this happen. So we appreciate you for coming on. And until next time, everybody, we out.
Thank you
Peace.
guys.